I'm Dana Schwartz, and this is Rise or Die, the official companion podcast for Peacock's original series, Those About to Die. On this podcast, I go behind the scenes with the show's cast and creators to learn how they brought their brutal vision of Rome to life.
Gosh, people will freak out.
Rise or Die launches on July 18th. Watch or listen wherever you get your podcasts.
With your long-forgotten name, we call upon you.
We call upon you.
In the words of the unspeakable language, we call upon you.
We call upon you.
By the spilt blood of the wicked, who walk upon this world, sprouting the words of false idols, we call upon you.
We call upon you.
On the land of the dead harvest, that which brings the earth itself into your service, Yamal, we call upon you.
We call upon you. We call upon you. We call upon you.
Yamal calls upon you.
The Sprouting, a Call of Cthulhu actual play podcast by Blighthouse Studio. Find us on your podcatcher of choice.
Hey everybody, before we dive into this week's episode with our fabulous guest.
Dive in to Go Fish.
All right.
Great one, Jenny.
Oh boy.
Sorry to interrupt. Please continue this pre-roll.
Before we get started on this episode with our wonderful guest Brittany Ashley, we need to tell you a few things. First of all, I, Jenny Owen Youngs, will be embarking upon a tour. Starting next week, I'll be supporting my friend's Streetlight Manifesto, and I will be playing in the following cities with them: Denver, Las Vegas, Tempe, San Diego, Anaheim, San Francisco, Portland, and Seattle.
And beautiful Mount Rose, Minnesota.
No Mount Rose, Minnesota.
But if you get that reference, extra points to you.
But I'll be playing in all those other places, and you can find out more at jennyowenyoungs.com/tour.
Yes, and I will be in New York City for the All Ages Everyone is Gay and Autostraddle Pride Party on June 24th. It is at Housing Works Bookstore Cafe from 2 to 4 p.m. It is one of my very favorite things of all time. We will have performances by B. Studwell, Julia Weldon, and the Slam Poetry team from Urban Word, New York City. I will be hosting with Gabby Rivera. You should come down and say hello to me. You can find all of the event details on Everyone is Gay's Facebook page, Autostraddle's Facebook page, or probably just by looking up what's the best party to go to for Pride.
We also want to remind you that we have a little shop up upon the internet.
Not of horrors.
Not of horrors, but of wonders. A little shop of wonders. Those wonders include, but are not limited to, Smash the Demon Lizard Patriarchy shirts and muscle tanks, Just Keep Fighting tees, Cordette, Slayerette, and buffering pins. Holy crap, we have a lot of stuff. It can all be found at bufferingthevampireslayer.com. Just go there and click on shop.
We also want to let you know that next week we will be coming at you with a mailbag episode. So now is your chance to ask us any of those burning questions that you have about us, our lives, our podcast preferences, our
interest in Game of Thrones coming back in just a few short weeks.
Yes, our interest in Game of Thrones returning. You can email us at bufferingthevampireslayer@gmail.com. So stay tuned next week for a mailbag episode. And then after that, holy shit, we're into the finale.
Wow, wow, wow. The future is bright, but for now, here is the present. And welcome to Buffering the Vampire Slayer, a podcast where we are watching and discussing every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, one at a time. I am Jenny Owen Youngs.
And I'm Kristen Russo, and this week we are talking about Season 2, Episode 20, Go Fish. Stay tuned at the end of the podcast every week for an original song written by us recapping the Buffy episode we are discussing.
Go Fish was written by David Fury and Ellen Hampton and directed by David Semel. It was originally aired on May 5th, 1998.
This is the one where members of the Sunnydale Swim Team are killed by a gill monster of unknown origins. That's the description. I'm sorry. This is the one where Xander wears a Speedo.
Yeah.
Ow!
This is also the one where Brittany Ashley is here.
Brittany Ashley!
Happy to be here.
Welcome.
Great.
Oh my God.
Great.
Brittany, in addition to bringing so far the best collection of Buffy memorabilia to our home, I think that's probably your highest credit in life, is a writer. You wrote and hosted an LGBT news show on Logo. You were the lesbian on BuzzFeed. As I understand, Gabby Dunn refers to you as the lesbian stoner with red lipstick from
That
BuzzFeed.
is correct.
So if you know who that is, you know Brittany Ashley. And you're the co-host of Sicker, Sadder World, a podcast we've already talked about here, about Daria.
Yeah, me and Laura Zach host this podcast, and it's changed my life.
It's pretty amazing. And if you're listening to our podcast, I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and say you might be into like 90s nostalgia podcast TV recaps.
Yeah, let's just hope that there's just different series of paired up lesbians recapping 90s shows. Somebody please snag Dawson's Creek soon.
Please. Oh, we need to think of a snappy title for the lesbian Dawson Creek recappers. Jenny, I know now Jenny's not going to pay attention to the rest of the episode because she's just going to be thinking of a title.
I'll see you guys in an hour.
This is also the episode with the straight white guy skin suits.
Well, one of my favorite things in life is a straight guy skin suit.
What do you think those are made out of?
Privilege.
My favorite part about those white guy skin suits are the steam that lets you know they're fresh. You know that they're just piping hot.
The thing that I haven't understood is what smells.
Right?
That is the mystery.
Yeah, so as these boys get overtaken by these fish monsters or gill monsters, according to IMDb, which I like. I
like gill monsters.
Right?
I'm
gill
down
monsters
to roll with
good,
that.
of unknown origin.
Vince Gill monsters.
Yeah. Yeah, they smell something, which is kind of cool.
But the thing is, with the first transformation, hatching, emergence, with the first emergence,
yes.
Dodd is the person who becomes a fish monster, but he isn't the one who smells something.
No, it's Gage.
Gage smells something, but then in subsequent emergences,
So that's upsetting.
the person who transforms
because
smells something.
See, I wrote plot hole, you can't smell yourself.
Right. You should be able to smell someone else hatching.
Right.
I kind of like the idea that they could smell, like that the first physical manifestation of this hatching was that they like smelled something odd or off. But you're right, it doesn't add up. Doesn't add up. Maybe Dodd and who?
Gage.
Who
named these characters? Yeah.
Dodd and Gage.
It's just like car parts.
Maybe Dodd and Gage were just closer than we were, led on to know in the course of the ad. They were taking a stroll on the beach, so
They were about to go for a night dip.
they were.
With
so
his GQ turtleneck.
that turtleneck. Listen, it's early in the episode to do this, but I don't know how we can address that turtleneck without listening to Kate hearing Kate and what she has to say, because does she talk about the turtleneck? Does she not? If she doesn't, we have to address it.
Let's find out together.
It's time for our friend Kate to give you the Buffy fashion update.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Buffy Fashion Watch. This episode is a great one because there are so many different outfits. The whole episode takes place over the course of 4 or 5 days at the very least. So I just want to point out that Willow looks awesome in this episode. She has so many cute outfits. Her jumper, her orange, I'm going to guess they're corduroy pants, her skirt in the opening couple of scenes with its sort of high-waisted sweater is really, really cute. Also, Cordelia has some stunning looks in this episode. I would like to point out that once again, as always in this season, she's wearing a sweater set, but it's with a tank top, which I love, gotta switch it up. She's also dressed for what seems like a corporate garden party when she's at the scene at the swimming pool. And I don't know if you noticed, because I noticed, because I'm gay, that when she stands up, her skirt is slit basically up to the waistband. It's quite something. Anyway, she also has the return of her work shirt that she wore earlier in the season, which has got a white collar and it's blue and pinstriped with white cuffs, and she's paired that with a jumper. And Willow also wears a jumper in this episode, and I don't know if you remember this particular era in time as well as I do, but jumpers are basically all that I wore. Just these sort of shapeless, sack dresses that you put over t-shirts or collared shirts, things like that. It's just really, really excellent. The both of them kind of outshine Buffy in this episode, but I do want to say something because I have to say something. The part of this episode where Buffy smashes the swimmer's nose into the steering wheel is one of my favorite moments in this season, although everything that follows it is terrible. The nurse and the swim coach and the principal, basically everyone gives Buffy a hard time for dressing the way that she does. And we all know the rhetoric about, if you're dressing that way, of course, what do you expect is going to happen? But like, come on. I can't even suspend my disbelief for this. She's wearing a black tank top. It is not even remotely revealing. And it's like summer in Southern California. And she's a teenager. Were these lines written before they picked out the costume? Was she supposed to be in a tube top or something? Because everyone just seems like they're completely overreacting to something incredibly ridiculous. And the situation's awful. And if you've ever been in it, I'm so sorry. It's a terrible thing to experience. But like, frig. She's a teenager. Just let her live. Anyway, until next time, I'll see you at the mall.
That was our friend Kate. She gave you the Buffy fashion update.
Wow, Kate.
Wow. No turtleneck.
No turtleneck. Kate, I understand that the spiral that Kate fell down. We're about to fall down at a slower pace, but it'll be the same spiral. But no turtleneck. So let's at least start with the turtleneck and then talk about all of the other things that Kate brought up in that amazing fashion watch.
That turtleneck is bananas.
It looks like he belongs on a runway.
Right?
Not at a high school party.
And in general, what's this actor's name?
Wentworth Miller.
Thank you so much, ladies. He does belong on a runway. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it.
Totally.
I think he's so beautiful.
He's so smoldering.
Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the turtleneck puts it over the top. He should definitely like pivot at the end of the scene and walk back the other way,
And that turtleneck does not fit his personality either.
No. You talked about when we were watching, like, that you love this character. Is it this character?
Oh my God, yeah. Like, I wonder when they were writing this character, did they have like Spicoli in mind? From Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Right, because he doesn't have the hair, but he has definitely the surfer attitude.
Yeah.
And we don't
dude, what is that foulness?
Yeah. Yeah, they go really hard on the beach this episode in general. Like, we start at the beach with a bonfire. And, like, have we ever seen them participate in school activities before? Like, that Cordelia and Xander and Willow and Buffy are all there. Without it's not like one of them is like dating, there's not,
or like they're watching for some kind of
they're
evil.
just like
They've
hanging
gone to,
out,
like basketball games when there was a witch,
right?
They've gone to football games when there was a zombie,
right. When they're on duty,
they only use sports when it's convenient.
Yeah. Yeah, normally they're just like sitting in Buffy's room and Xander's drinking Surge, and they don't like hang out. Something else in this opening scene that I want to point out that is a departure from the norm is that Cordelia laughs at Willow's joke.
Oh, wow.
I'm so excited. Yeah, right? Like, Cordelia and Willow are standing together, like, great friends. We know they are. I mean, we at least know they've made out in closets. And then, Cordelia is talking about, like, oh, at least we excel at something. And then Willow is like, you mean besides our high mortality rate? And Cordelia, like, genuinely laughs at Willow. And I'm like, oh, I just felt really nice for their friendship.
They're
Like,
just so close.
yeah, they're moving right along,
Yeah, one thing about this show is that because they don't want to spend so much time with the characters laughing at each other's jokes, it does just read that nobody thinks anyone else is funny.
Right. Certainly
I would be so self-conscious if I was one of them.
Yes. You want to know another joke that I laughed at? Is when we pan from the jovial scene
to the scene where she's staring off and it sounds like it was scored by a cat that was walking across a piano.
Exactly. I thought if we did a live episode at A Camp and Elle was keeping tallies of many things, and one of the things that they stopped keeping a tally of was the dramatic music changes, and I thought fondly of Elle in this moment because it goes from like a guitar-y, whatever, to like precisely. No, it could not have been described better. A cat walking across a piano.
And so, like, as if Buffy staring out over the moonlit ocean was not bad enough. Oh, this guy.
Cameron.
This guy.
Oh, fuck Cameron.
This guy.
Yeah. He has, like, villain face, too.
Yeah,
Truly.
100%. He even has like a really, I'm actually, the only thing that I do like about Cameron is the vein that he has like directly down the middle of his forehead.
I saw that.
I mean, that's, I'm into that and nothing else.
Wow.
He's like the worst kind of man. Like the kind who would, for example, start his intro by talking about the maternal nature of the ocean.
Wow.
And then end by locking you in a car. You know, like a really just anyway, I just want to play this like tiny clip just so we can all relive this together. This is the first moment we meet Cameron.
Beautiful. Isn't it?
Yeah. It's just so
Eternal. Her true mother giving birth to new life and devouring old. Always adaptable, nurturing, yet constant, merciless.
Gross.
Yeah.
Vomit.
I mean, conceptually, the ocean as like.
No, the concept. Yes. Nobody's going to argue.
But nobody wants to hear it from you, Cameron.
No, because we know what you're about.
Right, but did the steroids make him this way, or is he just this awful?
I think he's just this. No, because Gage, it's like Gage and Cameron are probably at same steroid level at this point in the episode. And like,
that's true.
You know, not that Gage is like perfect, but I get a particularly heinous vibe from this guy.
Yeah.
Right?
He's like the type of, he seems like the type of guy that would be like, right, ladies, like I totally know your struggle.
Yes.
And then he would try and take advantage of your vulnerability.
Exactly. The scene where they pull up in the car, and we'll talk about the car scene, fine, but like
in a Mustang.
And he's just like like you can tell it
Dolphins.
like faded in.
Yeah.
Oh my
fades in on dolphins. And he just goes on and on, and oh God, we've had enough of it. I've had enough of it.
And Sarah
Buffy's
Michelle
had enough
Gellar
of
has
it.
like the perfect reaction to it too, because you're just like, God, she's so fucking over this, and she had to hear about that all the way from her house to the school.
Which we don't even, how far is it?
We don't know how
know.
far it is.
It could be.
I do know how far it is in real life.
How far is it in real life?
It's like 2 blocks away.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
My girlfriend, for my birthday, she took me on a Buffy tour throughout the city.
Well, before we talk more about the episode, this is a great like end point to hearing about
Sure.
your relationship to Buffy, because I mean, I'm not kidding you. You definitely, like, future guests, you can try to top it, but for sure, you brought us an actual steak in a velvet box with the opening lines of the series, the Slayers sort of mantra written on the inside. There's many magazines, a yearbook, just so much. And so I want to know, first tell us about your relationship to the show, and then we'll get to how that relationship got you here.
Sure. So I was in, God, what grade was I in? I was probably in like 4th grade or something when I saw it on TV. It was the episode with Marcy, the invisible gal, and me and my sister, who's 4 years older than me, we were watching it. And when it was on air, for like the first few seasons, I would tune in every now and again, but it wasn't until high school where my sister had all the DVDs and I would just constantly borrow seasons 2 and 3 and just watch them to death. But yeah, it's gotten me through some dark times.
So how many times do you think that you've seen the series?
Seen the series all the way through probably like 5 or 6 times, but watched episodes from seasons 2 and 3, I mean, countless. And this is definitely an episode that I've watched over and over and over again.
Yeah,
and
I was so excited to learn that you loved this episode.
Totally. And it's also a great episode to show people who haven't seen the series before, to show them as like a fun intro episode.
Right.
But
And what
great.
a monster to introduce them to.
I know.
I feel like, you know.
But
And
sometimes when I'm writing, I have it on the background. It's like having a friend there.
yeah, that's very similar to your relationship
yeah.
to the series, Jenny.
Yes, it is.
In the beginning of our relationship, Jenny would always be like doing work with Buffy on, and I never knew what was happening in the series.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was always like, okay, there's just vampires and monsters.
And a cool moment that happened is my sister lives here now, and I'd say like once a month she stays over in my room just to get to work easier in the morning. And I came home and she was asleep, but Buffy was on the TV, and she watches it sometimes to go to bed.
Oh,
And I was like, we're the same.
Hell yeah.
Did your collection of items begin back in the early days, or is that a more recent?
There's some that are from the early times, and then some came randomly from a girl that I went on like 2 OkCupid dates with, and she honestly, she probably listens to this, and this was like
She's
3
like,
or
"It's
4
me."
years ago when I had like first joined OkCupid. There was a girl whose name was like Buffy fan, something,
my
something,
God.
and I was
Oh
like,
my
well,
God.
this is obvious.
Yeah.
But then we were not compatible at all, and we actually got into a major fight. I'm sure you can imagine what fight it would be, but I can't really spoil it right now.
Right.
But you probably know.
Right. Of course.
You probably know. But it was very polarizing, and it really set the tone for the way that we just feel about life in general.
Wow.
And
So early on too. 2 dates in.
We
Intense
yeah.
fight for 2 dates in.
We called it off, but she had said something to the effect of like, I'm cleaning out my apartment and I have to get rid of a bunch of stuff, and it was like magazines and it was trading cards, and and I was like, yeah, I'll take them, but it also felt like it was an adult being like, I can't have this shit anymore, and I was like, I'll take it.
So
Okay.
yes, Jenny.
So, back at Sunnydale High School, Willow is being way too effusive about everyone's pie charts being
charts?
so great.
How can a pie
Or it
chart
be bad.
right?
My same thought.
Like how I just want to know
If it's not a circle, if somehow...
I mean, I guess we know how a pie chart can be bad. It's bad if it looks like naked women solitaire.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is another question I have.
Where do you get
you
naked
get
lady
that?
card solitaire for your
Especially
computer?
on like a standard school computer.
Yeah.
You know?
It's still insane to me that Willow is subbing. Yeah. That's what you're gonna say.
Unacceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unacceptable. It doesn't make any sense. It defies the laws of gods and men and the PTA and child labor law. Like, it's just
Yeah, it's
bananas.
It's right. It's totally like this has never happened, right? Like
vampires.
it's never happened.
Sure.
Yes.
Swimmers being infused with
Yes.
fish DNA and then becoming fish monsters that sort of hatch out of their human host skin. Okay. A high school being like, would you mind? Our teacher died, so would you just take
Stay
over
on through finals.
the
end of
like
the
half
year.
the year?
Yeah.
It's also interesting because she does seem to love it so much. And this isn't a spoiler, but Willow doesn't become a teacher.
Right. You have ruined it for everyone, right?
But you'd think that would be something that she would pursue.
Right, a future plot point.
But
no.
I mean, it's like pretty in line with her general personality. Like, she loves to
Yeah.
help. She loves to like help her friends get better at school subjects.
It's true. It's true. She loves to do homework for other people when they make her
tutor. Yeah.
So Snyder comes in. Fucking Snyder. I'm sorry. I just love him. I mean, I hate him. I love to hate him is what I mean to say. But he comes in and he does this fucking crazy shitty thing, which is a plot line in like a lot of 90s television shows, I feel like, where the like sports
Past the sports
guys, right? I having never been a sports guy myself, I can't report if this is a factual thing or not, but it seems like it must be.
Were you ever a sports guy?
No, unfortunately not.
No sports guys in the room?
Nope.
Surprising.
I have never received special privileges for my unparalleled athleticism.
Right. But he basically tells Willow in no uncertain terms to pass this kid. And not to bring too many like current political things into the series, but we're currently watching the Trump and Comey situation unfold. And so like watching Snyder come into the room and be like, I'm not saying don't do this thing, but do this thing. I was
Do you
like,
have my honest loyalty?
Right. Yes. So, right. Snyder wants Willow's honest loyalty, and Willow is incensed.
And who's backing him up in the next scene?
Cordelia.
None other than Cordelia Chase.
Cordelia has a rough episode this episode. Like she has one particular scene that I will talk about when we get there that I love. But she has a lot of really rough moments that I think are meant to like pin her to her former Cordelia self and like let us know like she's still Cordelia, but they're done in these ways, or like she says these things that are just troubling. I don't know.
I mean, I think in general, the second half of season 2 is just very odd placement for so many episodes.
Yeah.
And so it feels like her arc is just kind of all over the place in terms of her own development.
Right.
because I mean the second half of the second season, it's just like picking up and setting down the Angelus plot line is just so messy across the board.
Yeah. And I hesitated when I first started talking about it because we get in some hot water over here in the podcast land for when Xander does something wrong, calling it out on Xander, and when Cordelia does something wrong, being like, well, the writers are really struggling with the character. So I didn't want to like fall into that trap. But this, no matter which way you slice it, it's a rough exchange for Cordelia. Although I do like when she criticizes Abe Lincoln's hat. I do like that moment.
Stupid hat.
And then this scene, we've already talked about it a little bit, but then we have this scene in the car, which is just horrible. And the whole thing, and this is where Kate was like, oh, I'll give you a fashion watch.
Yeah.
Let's talk. Let's talk about when people say you deserved what you got because you were wearing a tank top.
Yeah.
Bullshit. And he's disgusting. Like this fucking line, are you wearing a bra? Like, are you like, it's just,
like one breath after he just said, I'm not about pressure.
Yeah.
Are you wearing a bra?
Right. And then like relax. And luckily we get this scene with, of course, Buffy. So she's like, I'm not fucking concerned, man. What do you got?
Can I share? I was reading the Wikipedia article about this episode earlier today. And these are the first two sentences of the plot summary. It totally skips over the bonfire beach party, Willow in computer class, Cordelia talking about how winners deserve special privileges, and just starts, Buffy arrives at school in a car with Cameron, a member of the school swim team. He makes persistent sexual advances that are unwelcome, so Buffy slams his head against the steering wheel.
I wrote that summary.
Great job. It's perfect.
But yeah, and then everyone's in on this fucking bullshit too. Like it's like bad enough, the scene in the car, but then it's just like the classic is probably the wrong word, but it's the
realistic.
narrative arc. Yeah, realistic, right. It's the realistic arc that happens so often where not only is this guy like totally fucking with her, but then she's in the room with figures of authority who are saying like, hey, you shouldn't have done X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Because then he wouldn't have had to do this thing. Although in this case, they're not even putting anything on him. They're saying
right.
Like,
well, it's men in power don't suffer consequences.
Right.
And so to try and speak out against that, it rarely works. However, Buffy is going to take shit into her own hands.
Thank God.
I know.
Thank God for powerful women. You know what I mean? Also, what the fuck school has a steam room? Did anybody's high school have a steam room?
No, but look at that pool later.
Yeah, I mean,
that's like a majestic high school pool.
Yeah, but it's a standard, like that's
so many tiles.
Okay, it's right. But I mean, I've seen high schools have pools. I have not ever seen a high school have a steam room. So I'm putting the question out to the listeners. Please let me know.
Did your high school have a steam room?
Maybe it's a California thing. I don't know. Anyhow, Xander has a great moment. Xander has actually, I think, a bunch of great moments.
Xander has a great episode.
Right? And we've talked about the fact that sometimes when the patriarchy mantle is held
up
by some other men, that Xander gets a break.
Right. This episode and Reptile Boy they just have so many similar parallels.
Totally.
Where he is the only guy, so he has to go undercover.
Right. Get in with the men. And find out what's really going on.
However, it is fuzzy if he wants to get in with the men for the right reasons or if he wants that privilege.
Right. And I think for Xander, it is a bit of both.
Yeah, totally.
For sure. But the scene that he has in the hallway where he bumps into Cameron, right? It's Cameron that he bumps into, is really great. Where he's like, oh, Buffy's not on your list of privileges. And like, I really love it when you guys mess with her.
Totally.
Is like a really solid win for him being on like the inside and still calling that shit out. So applause for you, Xander. But yeah.
I also wrote sexual tension award ?
Okay, in the ring.
Wow.
Is it
taking initiative? I like it.
Is it the two of them, or is it perhaps like whatever is going on in the steam room, which is also?
Yeah, I mean, it's also like, could it be the teammates and their coach?
Oh my God, which that takes a turn.
No.
That's too rough for me in the end.
No.
So Cameron, just a whir from the heat of that sexual tension between he and Xander goes into the lunchroom.
Yeah, this exchange where he's like, "You're lucky I'm hungry," and Xander's like, "The cafeteria is closed," and Cameron is like, "Not to me," as though whatever is being served up or available to him in the Sunnydale cafeteria would be like something anyone would want to eat. Like, who covets cafeteria
it's gonna be
food?
coleslaw.
But also, like, there's nobody there and nothing there. So
empty silver trays. Like, where he's going to the fridge where they keep
the
Cordelia's prescription
Yeah,
lunch.
he's like it's not closed for me because I know where Cordelia keeps her prescription lunches that she no longer eats. But something that Brittany and I think shared a laugh about was the tables and chairs that have fallen. Like,
there's no sign of a struggle,
right? I just would love for us to get the footage that we didn't see of what happened in the lunchroom, because it appears as though when the monster was emerging from him, he threw his body all over the room, just
tornadoed everywhere.
Took a page out of the werewolf's book, right? Because that's how the bronze was left. It's like every time they need to show a struggle, every table is turned.
Yeah. Totally.
So we see the monster for the first time.
Woo!
The monster of unknown origins. I can't get that out of my head from the IMDb.
Yeah, it's quite a face that thing's
It's a good monster. I don't know. How do you feel about this monster?
I feel for a non-vampire villain, it's a pretty good one.
Right? It's like,
I mean, think about the werewolves on the show.
Oh, dear God.
For a second.
Don't do it. Don't think about them.
Think about the snake monster from Reptile
Yeah,
Boy.
I mean, they put a lot more thought into these costumes.
Right.
And they were scary.
Yeah, and the
glistening. They look great.
Right. That's exactly what I was going to say. The goo, the sticky clear goo.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That goes a long way for me.
Also, they're like catfish, like whiskers on the sides of their mouths. Great.
Yeah, they're like
Love
a
it.
page out of Alien and a page out of, there's just like a lot of different elements coming into play. And I love, like, in my monster ranking, monsters that burst out of people's bodies are up there for me.
That's what you're into.
I just really, I just like the effect of it. I know.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
it's horrifying.
I'm sorry to talk about Freddy, but I'll be real quick. It's just one other monster. There's a scene where.
Oh, you like Freddy Krueger?
I'm sorry. It's just okay. In the fourth one, there's a character who turns into a cockroach, and so the same whatever they did to make his hand bust out of that thing is they. Must be like a standard trick in movies for like people who do makeup.
And it's also just a message that there might be a monster inside all of us.
Oh.
Wow.
I feel like you deserve a sound cue for that, But yeah, I love these monsters. And yes, the monsters from within. My next note is unclear. LOL Cordelia.
Oh,
because she's a sketch artist.
Yeah.
All of a sudden. Would you say its eyes are close together or far apart?
She's so good at drawing all of a sudden.
Well, to be fair, we've never seen her draw.
That's true.
So, like, it may not be a new skill, but it's new to us.
I feel like hot girls are good at drawing.
Really?
You're
You're going through your Rolodex of hot girls and trying to connect them to if they could draw.
Yes. I have some data that supports your theory, but
God, everyone, including me, wants to know who's on the hot girl list and which of them can draw,
I'm just thinking of like high school art class.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I always be like, ooh, surprising.
So what isn't great right after this is you ran like a woman.
Yeah. You ran like a woman and then go out and practice running like a man. This is like strike two for Cordy. She's really having an episode that I'm not. And I can get behind her like flipping things sometimes, like last week she was, against the Sadie Hawkins dance because she was like super into men paying for her shit.
Right,
and I was like, I can get behind that. I can't, these things are like.
Due to the wage gap.
Yeah. But I just, I don't like it. No, Cordelia, stop it.
Then there's some deduction going on. Buffy is like ready for fucking trenchcoat times.
Oh my God.
Like, Greg Jonesy is next.
Buffy, listen, she's a great slayer. She is really good at a lot of things. She's a fucking horrible spy.
Her detective and spy skills have taken a nosedive.
As has her costuming for said activities.
Yeah. She looks like she's going to surprise her boyfriend on Valentine's Day. Like showing up at his door only wearing that like silk trench coat.
But yeah, a horrible spy job. But meanwhile, who's doing a great job?
Willow.
Oh, yeah. This might be one of my favorite scenes in the whole episode, where she has the like fucking desk lamp just in
God.
Jonathan's face, and she's like, I don't even remember how she starts it, but it's great. It's great. I'll crack him like an egg is really where she starts.
Yeah.
If everyone agrees with me, I would like to give Willow her jingle for the scene where she questions Jonathan.
Yeah.
Who knows the square root of 1225? Willow, who's gentle of heart and nimble with a hard drive. Willow, 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 Willow.
Great work, Willow. Great work. One other thing I just want to point out before we change scenes is that in the computer room, there is a bulletin board. And on the bulletin board, in the space allotted, there's a space below it where you put things, and above it, it's titled cyberspace. Sometimes I like miss entire scenes just trying to watch the like boards and the signs in the background looking for little things.
Totally.
Also, Gage is playing Game Boy. Gage is playing a Game Boy.
Yeah.
In the student lounge area.
The most beloved possession, I think, of the 90s. Did you have a Game Boy, Brittany?
I did.
Oh, I loved it. I loved my Game Boy so much. The tiniest. Do you think we could even see what was on the screen anymore? Like, I feel like our eyes have devolved and need to see like backlit.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Anyhow, so we go to the bronze, right? And Buffy is doing a really great job observing Gage very discreetly. And he like gets in her face and he's all like, yo, Cam told me
in
about
like
your
a sexy
games.
but in like a sexy way.
He's super hot the whole time. And then he leaves and he's like, oh, what a crazy bitch or whatever he says.
Yeah, what does he say? Something horrible. And then I was as if on cue, waiting for his line. Angelus is like, did someone say Buffy sucks? Let me turn you into a vampire so that you can help me kill her.
One of my favorite lines was, my condolences, dude.
And like only to possibly for me be topped when Angel is so fucking dramatic about the shitty taste of the blood. He literally spits for like 2 solid minutes.
Child.
He's a literal infant child. Because he like the scene's over and they like cut back to him and he's still like.
Right. But to be fair to Angelus, like, what does it taste like? Fish? Maybe?
You know what?
Maybe it tastes like bad fish.
I just feel like if you're the most powerful vampire, at least keep your shit together till you round the corner. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Save some face.
Yes.
Is all I'm saying.
Because they could use that to defeat him.
Also, this thing where like they're about to fight and she pulls her like hair chopstick out of her hair and shakes her hair out, and he's like, Miss Summers, beautiful. Like, why?
Yeah, it's a weird cameo for Angel. Like, I don't even really understand the placement of this, except for, we're nearing the end of the season.
Right. I feel like the last episode would have been better placement before the 2-part season finale.
Right. But then, but the problem with that too is that like Passion was right before the weird like Kinderstadt episode, so it would have been like Kinderstadt, then go fish. People would have been like, "What is going on?"
That's true. I guess they did have to put the more narrative heavy ones.
But yeah, it was just a weird like 3 minutes with Angel before he disappeared forever again. Do you know who swims laps?
Oh, what about Walk Me Home?
Oh my God!
Right.
You're
Walk
right.
Walk Me Home. Now Buffy and Gage are best friends.
They are.
I see a flirtation.
Yeah, I mean, he stopped swimming in the middle of the pool.
Oh, so cute.
Right?
That is really something.
It's really cute, but also, like, you would for sure get in trouble for that. Like, they were, like,
Not if
doing
you're
a set.
Gage, you're now the best human swimmer on the swim team.
Yeah.
That's true.
Although, do people count as human until they hatch?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think Michael Phelps is human? Because I don't. I think Michael Phelps is part fish. I'm just saying, like, maybe Coach Carl got the secrets for this fish stuff, and maybe so did Michael Phelps.
Oh, or maybe Michael Phelps was on this swim team.
Oh, and just never hatched.
Uh-huh.
We didn't see him in the steam room.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we probably wouldn't have even recognized him in the 90s.
Yeah, Shane West really took that spotlight.
Oh, my. Okay.
Okay, so now we're at the pool.
Great.
Jenny.
Listen, as the person in the room who might possibly have the greatest capacity to appreciate the male form, I would like to say, yeah, that's right. I said it.
Wait, what?
I love hunks. I love looking at men with great muscle tone. I love it, and I
Brittany's
am
about
not
to
afraid.
leave. Brittany's about to walk out.
Please
the
don't
door.
leave, Brittany.
Brittany's like, what in the fuck is happening right now?
I'm just saying.
You love a hunk. But
I love a hunk.
Personally, I feel offended. I don't know if you do. I also like a hunk.
Yeah, but I feel like I make more of a thing out of it.
Well, I mean, certainly you've proven your point today.
You're just so laid back about like...
I'm trying to play it cool so
natural
that the
beauty
hunks
or
will
whatever.
be into me, you know?
Right. I don't have that
Yeah.
ability.
Not playing it cool.
All I have is this, which is to say, great job,
Mm-hmm.
Xander, looking great in a Speedo. You did a great job.
Yeah.
Looking great.
It's also interesting that, assuming that the camera angle is the way that all three of the women looked at him, do you ever start at the
The
toes?
feet. At the feet. Not to yuck anybody's yum. If you start at the toes, fine. But certainly that is not where I begin my journey.
It was an interesting starting point, but it's the only way the reveal could work.
That's right. It's an interesting question, though, because I think if I'm going to scan a hunk body, I think I actually start with the face and work down. I don't start from the bottom up.
I think I start around the chest, shoulders, arms.
Okay.
I start at the kneecaps, go down, and then I go nose
Kneecaps.
up, and then I go from the left to the right.
Kneecaps to the ankles. Great starting point.
Support for today's episode comes from OneSkin. And if you have sensitive skin, you're going to want to hear about their scientifically proven topical supplements. Free from over 1,500 chemicals and preservatives that can make skin red, irritated, or itchy, their products are safe for sensitive skin. It's just one of the reasons they've earned the Skin Safe seal of approval.
They've also earned the Jenny Owen Youngs and Kristen Russo seal of approval, if I do say so myself, Jenny.
I couldn't agree more. I've been using OneSkin for a few months, and after a few weeks, I remember it like it was yesterday. I texted Kristen, and I was like, maybe she's born with it. I looked in the mirror that morning and was like, oh, things are happening, and I am happy.
I have used a million billion skin products, and I did not think that I was going to switch off of the skin like lotion, the moisturizer that I used and the under eye cream that I use, because I have used them for a little while and I really like them. And I've switched completely, which is a pretty big deal. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. By focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. Get started today with 15% off using code BUFFERING at oneskin.co. That's 15% off at oneskin.co with code BUFFERING. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, and if you can, please tell them that we sent you.
As a podcast network, our focus is bringing you shows you love to listen to. But we also sell merch related to those shows. And partnering with Shopify has made that both possible and simple for us to do. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor adventures, Shopify helps you sell everywhere because they've got you covered, from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system. What's so fantastic about Shopify is how, no matter how big you want to grow, they provide everything you need to get control of your business so you can take it to the next level. Businesses that grow, grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm. That's all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/realm.
Hello, I'm Simon Jack.
And I'm Sing Sing.
And together we host Good Bad Billionaire, the podcast exploring the minds, the motives, and the money of some of the world's richest individuals.
Every episode, we pick a billionaire and we find out how they made their money.
And then we judge them. Are they good, bad, or just another billionaire?
Good Bad Billionaire from the BBC World Service.
Listen now wherever you get your BBC podcasts.
So yeah, Jenny, once perhaps the only time you'll ever hear you rave about
Sorry, I had to shout a bunch.
Xander's bod. But you know who else is into it? Is Cordelia. She doesn't even realize who she's looking at. And then, like, I love, really, Cordelia's good scenes are at the pool, I think. They're just, whenever she's in the pool this episode, she's doing a good job. Because then there's this moment where Xander is like, no, I really am on the swim team. And she says, really? In this, like, perfectly nuanced, like, I don't want to let you know I'm really into that, but I'm letting you know I'm really into that way. And then Xander dives into the pee pool, which is unfortunate for him. Also, why is everybody making such a big deal out of it? That's what chlorine is for.
Right. And it's a big pool.
It's a big pool. Let me break it to everybody listening. If you've swam in a pool, it has had pee in it. That's just
There's no way around it.
There's no way around it. Xander dives into the pee pool and...
Or just the pool.
Right. Thank you. Yes. Qualifier, not necessary. But what everyone's upset about it for him, but my thought was that was a pretty good dive.
Yeah, was that Nick Brendan or was it
a stunt diver?
Yeah.
I feel like probably he was able to dive for himself.
I don't know.
It looked a little belly flop to me.
It almost did, but it just for somebody who's certainly not
somebody who just got on the swim team last night.
I thought it was all right. And he hadn't even had his first steam room party yet, which is where we go next, to a steam room party. Yeah, right? So many naked men surrounded by steam, not talking to each other at all. Except the one person who talks the entire time.
Is that like well, I guess none of us would know because none of us are hanging out in the men's steam room, but I wonder if it's like a, like how like a lot of guys won't they'll leave a seat between them at the movie theater.
Right.
Or, oh my God, the other day, Kristine and I were,
oh my God,
at the hospital and we got,
don't be alarmed.
No, everyone's fine. We were just there. It's fine. And we got in the elevator and two man doctors came in.
No, one man doctor was in with us. It was us two on one side and the man doctor on the other side.
And then the man doctor who entered the elevator, like in what I can only imagine to be an effort to just like stay as far away from the other man, just in case their dicks accidentally touched in the elevator, like basically leaned up against the two of us.
Stood like on top of us.
And it was like a pretty big elevator.
Could have definitely stood in the middle of the elevator.
And not accidentally touch dicks with the other guy.
Anyway.
Men.
Yeah, I thought there'd be more talking in there, but maybe that's because I'm a lady, and I think that ladies would talk in the steam room.
Do ladies talk in the steam room?
No,
you go to a steam room sometimes.
I go into a steam room, but it's like in a gym where you don't know the people. But I imagine that if I was like sitting with you both in a steam room, that we would talk. It would just be weird.
Is that what we're doing? Is that a thing
that's
we're
what
doing?
we're doing? Yeah. Buffy field trip after the episode. We're all gonna go to a steam room. I hear they're at any local high school.
So then Gage is in the locker room. Right, and Xander has left him behind and tags Buffy in to be his watcher, basically.
Oh, right.
She hears the scream.
This is the alien entry monster reveal.
Yes.
I think that it's important to point out something that may go unnoticed in this scene because of the, monster reveal, which is that there are some gym towels that are embroidered with SHS for Sunnydale High School, which I feel is important to know.
Only the swim team gets those. Just another one of their many privileges.
They only get pulled out when a team wins, which had never happened before. Followed by the monster slip and slide, everyone's favorite game.
That was great.
Just a beautiful, they did a lot of things.
Just two gill monsters taking a run, a dive, a slip.
Yeah, slip slide.
And Buffy gets bitten on the shoulder.
Right. Buffy gets bit, which is fucking rough. Ugh.
Gross. Because do you think fish mouths are dirtier than human mouths?
I think they smell. I think that
there definitely are strong indicators across the span of the episode
that let us know that they
there's
smell.
smell
and
stuff happening.
It's bad to get bit by anything, but certainly I would not want to get bit by anything that smells.
Very unceremonious goodbye to Gage. Because I feel like Gage and Buffy could have had like a cute flirtation.
Right? It's true. I know. I liked Gage too.
And I feel like a lot of these guys that are being turned into these monsters, they would have been really helpful for...
Spoiler. That was a little jingle that we made because, as you may know, this is a spoiler-free podcast, but sometimes we get a little carried away and we get excited about things that are spoilers. So from now on, if that happens, you'll hear that little spoiler jingle covering up the things that we do not want you new viewers to hear. So then Giles and Buffy go on their father-daughter
doctor visit.
What? No, their father-daughter. Oh, yes.
Oh, first she gets wrapped up and then they go on their father-daughter sewer trip, right?
Their father-daughter fishing trip. They're going fishing. It's really cute. It's really sweet.
Did you ever go fishing with your dad?
No, my dad does not fish.
Did you ever go fishing with your dad?
I don't think so. I would just play catch with my dad.
Oh, that's so nice. Did you do anything with your dad?
Yeah, I've been fishing with my dad.
Wow.
Yeah, no big deal.
I don't think
just
my
a girl
dad
and her dad
and I
catching
didn't-
some sunnies.
My dad just like mows the lawn. Like he doesn't.
That's true.
You know, that's what he does.
He's
best.
just caught in a loop of only mowing the lawn.
Yeah, or shoveling snow. You know, it's one of the one of those two things. He's just constantly on the move. And we learn some stuff in the next few moments of the show where the steroids are in the steam.
We learn it from Shane West, as you mentioned.
Totally.
Who would go on to star opposite Mandy Moore in the Nicholas Sparks novel adaptation film A Walk to Remember.
I did see Shane West once.
Where?
Go on.
Wait, can we guess where?
Sure.
Starbucks.
No.
Yogurt Land.
No.
American Eagle.
Abercrombie.
Okay, so think about where also Shane West would shop or
Right.
be.
Okay.
It's not a store.
Nordstrom.
It's not a store.
Okay. Is it a food place?
No.
Is it
The beach.
Is it
No.
a pool party at someone famous's house?
No.
Jury duty.
No.
Jury duty is good. Not the Mac store. Okay.
The dentist's office.
No.
The therapist.
No.
Think about
The gym.
No.
Oh, good guess. Good
Right?
guess.
A park.
Mm-mm.
Not even Griffith Park?
No.
A dog park.
No.
A museum.
Think dirtier.
Dirtier.
Muddin.
No. Not physically dirtier, just theoretically dirtier.
Oh, Jumbo's Clown Room.
Close. So I've only been to maybe like one club in Los Angeles, and it's called Bootsy Bellows.
Ooh.
And it's in West Hollywood. And I went with my friend Chris, and I was completely wasted. And he was like at a table that had bottle service, and I kept trying to like dance my way over just to like be near him.
Right.
And Bootsy Bellows is a very strange club where people will dance with marionette puppets.
What?
And I was trying to get close to Shane West, but there was this marionette puppet of A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
And so I just grinded with that thing.
Oh.
And then I never got to say hi to
Somewhere
Shane West.
Shane West is
Wow.
on a podcast right now being like, and I was at Bootsy Bellows one time, and there was this girl dancing with a marionette just right next to me all night long.
Yeah.
So I have a question, not related to Shane West, but I have a question that is related to the consistency of this whole plot, because the swim team is dropping like fucking flies. Like, I don't understand the long-term goal of the coach. Like, or does he just not realize he's failing?
He's just trying to get the amount right. That's what
he's
and
adjusting the
Nurse
levels.
Ruthie are talking about as they walk through the pool room.
So they're trying to figure out the ratio. So they're doing some hell math?
I guess they must be doing some hell math. Hell math. If Willow was on their team, she could probably just eyeball, as we've seen her eyeball in the past, any liquid in a vial. She could tell you how much needs to go in a person without causing death.
I think what we're learning about hell math is it's a very general, feel it out kind of a vibe. It's definitely more like a cooking over baking kind of a math, you know?
I think it's experience-based.
Oh, interesting.
Learn as you go.
Brittany talked about knowing that the coach's name was Carl. And it's because of
Carl?
this moment, right? What is her name?
This has got to stop, Carl.
This has got to stop, Carl.
Nurse Ruthie.
And you know that teachers are close, or faculty is close when they call each other by their first names and you catch it. Remember catching that in high school?
And you were like,
yeah.
It was like when you learned like your parent had a name that wasn't mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah, very bizarre. And you
My
feel like
teacher's name is Mark?
Yeah.
I know like a regular person my age named Mark.
Yeah, which is totally irreconcilable to the fact that this is not a person. You're a teacher. So then right after her great line, that's it for Ruthie. She gets fed to the monsters. And this is like a weird part of the plot that I don't understand why it needed to be there. Like in Reptile Boy, because you brought up that episode as like something that has a lot of parallels. You know, it was a frat house. There was like a very direct reason to bring in like a sex element element and like a rapey element of the plot line.
Sure.
This is like, because she gets thrown to them to get fed to them, and then when Buffy gets thrown, he's like, boys have other needs.
This is,
and I guess I don't understand.
Yeah, good role models.
Yeah. But yeah, why? It just, I don't know.
Also, I mean, not to undercut the seriousness of like that as a repulsive and unacceptable act. What's up with like fish reproduction? Because isn't there just like
they don't right.
eggs are laid externally and then there's like a fertilization thing that happens?
That's
like,
actually
what needs do they have?
Right.
Well, that obviously shoots him in the foot when he's in there eventually.
Right. Which I guess is like why, maybe they set that up to turn it on its head. I didn't like the execution of the whole thing.
Right.
Because I am like way a fan of us calling out, the kind of culture we live in where women are blamed for shit and like, how fucked up it is that we talk about things like boys have needs. Like, and that's like why those lines are there. But I guess I feel like it wasn't contextualized enough to have that. So it was just like these really weird, like laughing off of silly jokes that were actually like really fucked up things that I wasn't super into.
I was super into, conversely, the phrase inner halibut. I liked that a lot.
Yeah. They went like medium on the fish puns. I thought they could have gone harder, personally.
Yeah.
I'm always
agree.
right.
There were two separate sauce jokes. Tartar
lemon
sauce
butter.
and then a lemon butter.
Yeah. Many ways you could sauce a fish,
I know it.
So last week we talked about the government of Sunnydale, right? And how they're like in on this and we're learning more and more that they're in on this. Is the hospital in on it? Because there's this whole thing where they're like, we have to get this to the hospital toxicology lab so they can develop an antidote. Like, what? Like, how? Giles is going to be like, excuse me, doctor. We have these boys turning into fish. Here's
that is a great point.
I question. And also, why are the boys so agreeable getting into the cage in the library?
Doesn't make any sense.
There's some holes.
There's a lot of
Also, just like high school boys being like, no, but also consider like what if one of them turns and then they're all locked in together.
Right. Yeah. I guess maybe part of this is a little bit sloppy on the writing end, and maybe it's also sloppy on the Scooby end. Maybe they're just not, they're not well versed in dealing with fish monsters.
And perhaps one of the largest missed opportunities was when the coach, Carl, is talking about after the fall of the Soviet Union. One, how did he get those records? And two, how much better would it have been if he slipped out of his American accent and had a Russian accent?
I also love that Buffy is like, what's really going on here? And he's like, and then he like kind of pauses and stares up into the middle distance. After the fall of the Soviet Union, documents came to light, and does like a whole like an end of a movie.
Yeah.
Villain spiel.
Like a Scooby-Doo.
Right.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Ending,
But also like this is way bigger than you think it is.
Yeah.
And I'm relating it
This
to
goes all the way to the
historical
top.
This has ties to Russia. And we're like, God damn it.
Yeah. Cannot
Where
escape.
are we once again?
After he gets Buffy to go down the hole with the gun that he just keeps sort of loose on his desk, she and Nurse Ruthie both are guilty of something that I don't care for, which is that that water is about waist deep, or just like solar plexus deep, and they both when they go down the hole, they both go all the way under the water, and in order to do that, they have to crouch. So goodbye, my disbelief. I cannot suspend you for that.
Yes. I see.
But also, when she's down there and Nurse Ruthie's R.I.P. corpse comes floating by,
which is not really eaten.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like they had much to eat.
No, it doesn't.
Unless they just like suck out her blood.
Right, but that seems more vampiric than. But who knows? We haven't really seen how they eat. But above ground, where we have before we get to Cordelia's beautiful moment, there's the laziest of all the sea monsters is in this scene. I don't understand why. Like, he comes out of the locker room and takes a lap. Like, he just swims a lap, and then like at the end, Cordelia's at the end of the pool, and he sort of like flails his arms a little bit, and they're like, ah, and then he just goes back into the pool.
Bye.
Like, I just want to know what that monster's story was. That like he changed and he was like, I feel like I need to swim.
Yeah, I think he's just not part of the pack. He's just an outsider.
Yeah,
that Sean or whoever.
Well, Sean
whatever his
was
name.
just for narrative, whatever. That was Shane West's character.
Oh, was it?
That was Shane West as a scene. I mean, I don't think it was actually. It definitely wasn't Shane West in the suit, but like,
hey, you know what? You don't know that.
you know what? I don't know that. But we're maybe.
Why would you pay another actor?
So whatever. Shane West, lazy sea monster aside, this scene for Cordelia
is the best.
She has a lot of her best scenes when she's by herself.
Oh my God, that is so deep.
And it's, so true.
That is amazing. You are doing great. You heard it here first.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the largest arc moments for her are when you see her by herself and the choices that she makes when there's not pressure from everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And where she doesn't have to wear the mask of who she is in public.
I'm going to tell you what. I was going to talk about like bath toys and seeing other
Please
fish.
don't let me stop you.
No. And then it was all going to end in giving Cordelia her jingle. But I would like to give Brittany Cordelia's jingle.
Here it is.
Today.
Wow. Just for you.
Cordelia, I love you, Cordelia. You're perfect, Cordelia.
Brittany, thank you for allowing us to partake in that Cordelia jingle.
Of course.
It was really beautiful.
Should we talk about this really unfortunate choice on the Buffy dialogue end of things?
Go on.
When she's down in the pit and the three fish monsters are closing in on her because boys have needs.
Right.
She says, just what my reputation needs. That I did it with the entire swim team.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about before. There's these like weird little quips that like, because that's very Buffy to like make a little joke at the end, but it's situated right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's fucked up because it's of what's happening, and it's also fucked up because it's like a super slut shamey thing, but it's just weird.
It's also like rape isn't sex,
right?
But
also on a way less serious note, what is her reputation? She's just weird.
Right. That's true.
Like that girl gives me the creeps. Like she's just seen as weird.
Which is how we start the episode.
Yeah, no one's like she previously dated a 241-year-old vampire
that's
who
a
now
secret.
is soulless.
Yeah, people don't really interact with her is kind of the deal. People are like that weird girl.
Right. And usually when high school boys show attention to her or college guys, it's for some ulterior motive.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're 2 for 2 on episodes where she's just been sitting and staring off into the distance when she's interrupted by.
Been there.
Yeah. Right? Just let me look at the ocean, man.
Yeah.
Stop talking to me. I really want to talk about the actual last scene.
Wow.
I will not let the episode. It's just. I feel like it wasn't written in, like I feel like they had the whole episode written and it ended where, before this. And then like they were on set and they were like, well, what are we really going to do with these monster costumes?
Where do they really want to go?
Right. We really want to take a day. And they just I feel like they sent 2 camera guys down, no sound guy. They were like, just go to the beach. And they just had them swim in the ocean. And what?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I told you after the episode ended that it reminded me of The Craft.
Yes.
It had very much Craft-esque music and just the vastness of the ocean.
The maternal nature of the ocean. Yes. Oh, a movie. One of these days when we like spin off from this podcast and go down a movie, The Craft is going to be one of the top ones on my list.
Okay.
We just brought it up last week. That's 2 for 2 on The Craft.
I mean, it's a worthy movie.
It is. Did we miss anything? Does anybody want to talk about anything else?
I just want to say that it was a dream to be here.
It was a dream to have you here.
Yeah, please come back anytime.
Literally anytime. We mean that when we say that to you. Gabby took it too far.
She could be here right now.
She probably is here.
Hey, guys!
Hello!
Wow, nailed it. Nailed it. Oh, yes. Brittany, we know where to find you and how to make sure that you come back and talk to us about future episodes, but how can all of our listeners find you?
Well, you guys can text me.
Great. My number is...
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Brit27Ash. It's BRITT27ASH. You can listen to my podcast, Sicker Sadder World.
And Sicker Sadder World on iTunes. You
Yeah,
should check
it's on
it
iTunes.
out. It's so fun. I listened to a great story that somebody was telling about drinking pee on the podcast.
Oh, that was my co-host Laura.
Yeah, so good content. Great content all around.
She wanted to cut it out too, and I was like, nope.
No. Oh, and like you argued about it in the podcast, and I was like, no, it's staying. I was very Team Brittany on that one.
Wow.
Basically, on the podcast, it's me just trying to get Laura to reveal the most embarrassing stories that she possibly can.
Great.
Yeah, that's kind of our dynamic where I just try to get Jenny to talk about how she loves me and she doesn't like it.
Well, thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much, Brittany Ashley, for joining us on this very special day. I am Jenny Owen Youngs, and when I'm not watching Buffy, I'm writing songs and recording them. You can learn more about me and hear some of those songs at jennyowenyoungs.com/buffering, and you can give me a shout on Twitter at Jenny Owen Youngs. Also, if you're on the West Coast, don't forget, from June 23rd to July 1st, I will be playing a variety of shows in the westerly portion of the country. You can find out more about that at jennyowenyoungs.com/tour.
I am Kristen Russo. You can find out more about me by following me on Twitter or Instagram at Kristen Noeline, KRISTINNOELINE. You can also learn about the work that I do over at everyoneisgay.com and mykidisgay.com, two organizations that I run to help LGBTQ young people and their families. And of course, in that same vein, you should, if you're on the East Coast near New York City, come out on June 24th to the Everyone is Gay and Autostraddle All Ages Pride Party at Housing Works Bookstore Cafe from 2 to 4 p.m.
Buffering the Vampire Slayer is on Twitter and Facebook at BufferingCast, and you can always drop us an email at bufferingthevampireslayer@gmail.com. We are also thrilled to be a new member of the Stitcher Premium Network, where you can experience ad-free episodes of this podcast and many others. Just go to stitcherpremium.com/Buffy.
There are many ways to support our work. You can rate and review us on iTunes. That helps people find our podcast and it helps grow our community. You can also head on over and get yourself some really great Buffering t-shirts. Smash the Patriarchy t-shirts, enamel pins designed by Kate Leth. There's a whole ton of stuff over at bufferingthevampireslayer.com. Just click on store. And of course, you can always support our work on Patreon. You can find that link also on bufferingthevampireslayer.com. We send out the music that we make every week as we make it, so you get it before having to wait till the end of the season. Plus, you get all of our jingles. You can join our private Facebook group. We have Buffy watches, and we will have one coming up in July. And also, patrons are the first people to find out about when we release CDs. So the second season is coming to a close. Those CDs are going to go up. They are always in limited quantities, and we do sell out. So if you want the heads up on that, you can find out over on Patreon.
Until next time.
No, you have to. Oh, sorry.
Fuck.
I didn't know.
What the
fuck?
We must have like really good mom faces because you look like you are in so much trouble.
I'm so sorry. I didn't prepare you. That wasn't.
She's never coming back to the show.
All right. Do it again.
I'm so sorry. Okay, so what's going to happen is I'm going to say till next time and then we'll all howl together.
Cool.
Okay. Till next time.
Ooh.
Much better.
That was so great.
Something fishy has been going on, and I don't know what to do. 'Cause all the swim team boys are turning into creatures from the Black Lagoon. Was into someone in the lunchroom, yeah. Their menu's always a scare. Based on our data, Gage is next in line. So gentlemen, beware. You smell like low tide, and you got fish. vaporized fins, all for the win. Why do the jocks get special privileges? I'm 10 times stronger than them. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Social constructs really fuck shit up, always in favor of men. Coach Carl and Snyder think they know it all, but here's a lesson that's real. When winning overpowers everything, you might end up as a guppy meal, or with your nose smashed on a steering wheel. You smell like low tide, and you got fish rather you were fried, but you're steaming in vaporized fins, all for the win. Yeah, you're steaming in vaporized fins, all for the win.
Hi, I'm Dana Schwartz, and this is Rise or Die, the official companion podcast for Peacock's original series, Those About to Die. On this podcast, I go behind the scenes with the show's cast and creators to learn how they brought their brutal vision of Rome to life. I talked to acclaimed director and executive producer Roland Emmerich.
When I saw the first race, I was like giddy.
Actor Ewan Ryan.
For an actor, that's a dream, although you do get a lot of sand in your sandals.
And so many more.
You helped summon those ghosts back onto that stage.
Every day when I went to set, I was giggling about what I saw.
I think it's going to be a breathtaking thing.
Gosh, people will freak out.
Rise or Die launches on July 18th. Watch or listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you know what lies within nothing?
No.
Do you know where it ends? Do you want to know?
Yes.
Counterbalance, a high fantasy audio drama. Season 2, coming 15th of October 2023. Learn more on trilunas.com.